Hello, everyone. I am Holly Fogel,
Hey, I'm Lori Hamilton.
and
How are
we
y'all
are
doing?
we are coaches on call. We are continuing our seven-part series, seven characteristics of agents that could be in danger of being left behind as our market shifts. So we are on characteristic number 4. So today we are going to take a couple of minutes and talk to you about the passive agent.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, the passive. So, just to kind of recap, we've already been through the uninformed agent, the secret agent, and the negative agent. So, today it's all about being passive. And in our training and in our coaching and in a lot of the courses that I teach, a big concept is around this. And what we, really talk about is the spontaneous and reactive agent versus the proactive and intentional. So passive, in a way, is not even being spontaneous and reactive. It's really kind of not taking any action. But we want people to really think about their business and have a plan. So it's really the P&I mindset is what we talk about all the time. And that's just short. We have a lot of letters that we have shortened and stuff. So the P&I mindset is just being super proactive and intentional. And you're going to have to get into this mindset. I know a lot happened to agents the last couple of years and things appeared out of nowhere. And there was, a lot of frenzy in the market, and that has all died down. And a lot of it has to do with affordability and interest rates and several other things. So Brian Buffini just dropped his bold predictions yesterday or Monday. And if you have not watched it, I encourage you to look that up, get registered. There's a lot of great resources in there and a lot of interesting facts about what 2023 is going to look like. The good news is they really envision this being about a 3-quarter, kind of lull. So if you, were smart the last couple of years and saved up some good income from what you made, saved it, and really stay true to being proactive and intentional in 2023, you're going to probably be fine. So I did feel really encouraged after watching his bold predictions, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense. So I did want to just encourage you all to kind of find that, download the resources, study those numbers, and have intelligent conversations. It goes back to being informed and knowledgeable and coming to your database and your sphere from a sense of knowledge, not from feelings. So that will also arm you with some great information. So I did want to just tell you that. But why don't you kind of kick us off into your mindset, Lori, when you think about the proactive and intentional ways that you help, you work with a lot of new agents. I tend to work with a lot more experienced agents. So why don't you kind of give us a little peek behind how you get folks to really be proactive and intentional?
Yeah, because, this is different from like what we talked about, the secret agent. I think, when you're looking at being proactive and intentional, you really have to have some kind of blueprint because, we all know if we've been in the business, real estate can be a roller coaster. So we need some kind of blueprint or business plan. So it kind of all starts with the business plan, and you're trying to plan out your business and your goals, and basically it comes down to your lead generation channels. That's really where I kind of have to focus it. Yes, we do start with a business plan that takes you like, what do you want it to look like in 6 months all the way up to 5 years? And if you've never done that, if you've never done a business plan or gone through that exercise, I highly recommend it. And we have a couple of different business plans that we take all of our agents through. But what I really love pulling out of the business plan is, yes, it's your blueprint and it's your foundation, but where the rubber meets the road and the meat of it for me when working with agents is, what are your lead generation channels? And then those of you are like, what are lead generation channels? Okay, how are you finding buyers and sellers? Like, we all can go to all of that. Like, we can all rattle off, especially us that's been in the business, the fundamental ways, right? Like open houses, your sphere of influence, expireds, for sale by owners. What else am I missing? But
you know
yeah, networking, you've got those pillars. So it's like, okay, where am I going to actually get really specific, and what pond am I going to fish in? Well, I always tell people 4. You need to have 4 ponds that you're going to fish in. Okay, because you can find buyers and sellers by doing open houses. You can find buyers and sellers by farming. I almost forgot that. That's what I didn't. That was my favorite thing to do, honestly, when I was actively selling, was farming. You can do farming. If it's social media, yes, you can definitely find buyers and sellers there. And then your sphere of influence. I'm just choosing 4 that maybe I would pick, right? Finding buyers and sellers in all of those 4 pillars, that's where you're going to get your business. So then what are the activities? That's where I think really that's the creative part. To me, that's the fun part, coming up with ideas on what are those activities. And they're not all set in stone. I think there's lots of basic activities that we all should be doing, but you've really got to get specific and put some thought into it and get with somebody on to help guide you if you're really not sure what activities you should be doing. Like what was it last week? We did that one where we did the brain trust or the brain dump, and we just came up with all the different ideas, and it was so fun because it was like, don't talk yourself out of ideas. Let's just go ahead and just name some things to do to find buyers and sellers while doing open houses. You know, we took 4 different ones.
I think that think tank yielded between 25 and 40 activities on the 4 pillars that we chose to focus in on. So if you've never done this, what we call think tank, brain dump, however you want to do it, the premise behind it is to put an idea at the top of a piece of paper. And then, so we started with working by referral, because 95% of the agents that we all work with and coach, that's usually one of their pillars, is to work by referral. One of my favorite courses to teach, and a fan favorite, is are you working by referral or waiting by referral?
I love that class. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a fan favorite. People love that. But really what I find is, even when I start coaching folks, they can rattle off the ways they're going to get business. And then when I say, okay, what does that hour look like when you're working on your farm? It's kind of, people run out of things to do. So the whole concept behind it is to give you enough ideas to put down on paper. And then you can go through the evaluation process after you've let all the creativity flow. And we had several people on this Zoom call. So to get all that different input from folks, there was a lot of great ideas that came out of that even, being in real estate 22 years and coaching for 12, there were things I hadn't even thought of. So it was so empowering, and it was really fun. It's a great exercise to do. And you're absolutely right. You've got to be able to fill those hours, your lead generation hours, which we're going to talk about in the next characteristic, but you've got to be able to fill those hours with actionable activities. And I love, I know we give credit to a lot of people, and another one of my favorites is Jared James. And, he always talks about, if you focus on the result, you're going to get frustrated. If you focus on the activity, you're going to get results. So a lot of times I don't focus on people's, did you get to the closing or not? I focus on all the activities, because I know that if you will actually do the activities, the closings take care of themselves. The business takes care of itself.
It's that compound effect,
compound effect. And it doesn't happen. It's not, I make one phone call, I get an appointment. It just doesn't work that way. So I think people's expectations are also skewed in this business. And that's what I love about our business plan. We actually give you the tangible numbers, that these numbers are proven. So if someone comes to me and says, my goal is $283,000 this year, I can back that down into exactly how many contacts per week you need to make. And I know that you talk about this a lot, Lori. So why don't you kind of elaborate on what is a contact, and, how are they going to be able to track these numbers, and kind of that little portion of our business planning is probably worth millions.
And we did that earlier. We did that in October, right? Because that's quote real estate new year for all of us realtors. Yes. Right. So I think we did that in October. And I remember even talking to an agent like a week later, and she was like, I got so much out of it. So all great things about about our little class as a course. But here's the deal. Where it comes down to is, like you said, somebody that wants $283,000, what exactly is their number? Is it 8? Is it 15 contacts a day? So what does that actually mean? Okay. So a contact is considered any of the five activities. Okay. It is having a voice-to-voice conversation about real estate. You can have that over the phone. Okay. And you actually have to get somebody live. It's not making 50 dials and then you're like, well, I made 50 contacts. No. You made 50 dials. How many people did you talk to about real estate that day? Okay. So there's the voice to voice. Then there's the face to face. So are you getting out and maybe taking somebody from your sphere to lunch and you're talking about real estate? Are you qualifying them and saying, hey, do you have a go-to person for all your, real estate strategies? Because I'd love to be that person for you. That's talking about real estate. They're probably going to ask how the market is. It's everybody loves to talk about real estate. People that are in real estate and people that are not in real estate, they love to know about it. So face-to-face meetings, in my opinion, are very that is a great way to get your contact number met. Then, of course, handwritten notes. Maybe you're just having one of those days where you're like, you know what, I got to get 5-8 contacts in. I'm gonna go through my sphere, and it's time for some handwritten notes to folks. Holly, you are the handwritten note queen, and I've done your personal note challenge, and I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. I was no stranger to writing thank you notes. Been there, done that a lot. But it is so interesting when you just start writing out handwritten notes to people and thinking of you, or hey, enjoyed meeting you last week. Anything that's going on in your life and in an interaction you've had with somebody, and you follow it up with a personal note, the impact that has on that person, it makes their day. I mean, I can't tell you how many, when I did your personal note challenge and people would get the either a birthday card, anniversary card, whatever I was sending out to them, I'd get such great text messages. Thank you so much. Like, I loved it. So don't underestimate the handwritten note, in my opinion.
I'll tell you, selling real estate for 13 years, personal notes and my monthly newsletter were the 2 biggest lead generators that I ever had.
Yep.
And just a little side note plug, I do 1 quarter a year of the personal note challenge. I think this is year 4. And quarter 1 of 2023 will be my personal note challenge. And I've knocked it down a little bit. It's gonna be 5 notes a week, but I've added a couple twists and turns this year. So if anybody listening,
that'll be interesting, because I'm doing that one.
Yeah. So if anybody listening wants to get in, you just need to private message me or email me your email address. I will be doing a lot more communication through email this year on the personal note challenge, and it's super fun, and people from all over the country get in this, in real estate, not in real estate. Like, it is a ball. So just a little side note on that. So
side note. Okay. Love it. Okay, so we did 3. We said voice to voice, face to face, handwritten note, email. Email is great. Hey, you could even step it up a notch and do like a video email. We've had an agent in the office that started doing this, and it was fun to watch him send me, hey, what do you think about this? It was just little practice videos, and it was great to see what he was talking about to his people. So, it
does have to go 2 ways. So remember, sending out an email to 50 people, that doesn't count. You have to have 2-way communication in all of these to be considered a contact. So the email needs to go both ways. And then what's the final way?
And then text message. And again, it's got to go both ways.
And I do want to tell folks, like, a lot of people are like, so if I have to, because the whole concept is that over years and years of studying and different conversion ratios and such, the typical number is 35 contacts should yield you a client that's ready to buy or sell either now or like within the next 30 days. And a lot of people think it's 35 contacts to the same person. Oh my God, I got to talk to that person 35 times before they're ready to do something. That's not how it works. So the way it works is you have 35 different contacts with all kinds of different people. And then all of a sudden you have a buyer or a seller, and you're like, well, that wasn't any of these 35, because that's not how it works. The way it works is that you are putting out in the universe 35 different conversations with all kinds of different people. And what happens is what you focus on, you get back in return. So sometimes it's again, the compound effect that really hits. So sometimes if you start from ground zero today and you're like, okay, I'm going to track every contact, it might be 41. It might be. And then what happens is you never stop those contacts. So they keep building and building and building. You might talk to someone, and I see this with the people that work expireds all the time. They'll list a house from an expired that they talked to months ago.
Oh yeah.
And then it comes back, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, where did that person come from? So please don't think that the 35 that you talk to are even going to be ever do business with you. It doesn't matter. People just underestimate how much you have to be in the mode of being a realtor. So you have all these different conversations, and then all of a sudden you are, and when you track your own, you'll be able to see people that have been in business for a long time. That number typically comes down. What we've seen is between 24 and 28 contacts for people that have been in business, because they're more at a proficient level. They have more confidence. They know what they're talking about. They're in their routine. So that number comes down over time. Everybody wants to forget the overtime portion. So if I can tell people, listen, if you can be committed to 35 contacts over time, and you do the number of contacts you need by by day 90 to 120, because everything you do today affects your business in 90 days. But then once you get the momentum going, it continues on, and it shortens and shortens and shortens. Most people never get there because they give up. They're not consistent. Consistency will change your life forever. That's why you need a coach or an accountability partner. We were going to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I was going to say too. Well, no. It's all good.
No, sorry. I got on. I'm supposed to be working on my rambling. Oh, wait a minute. That's my New Year's resolution.
That's your New Year's. Okay. We'll wait. We'll wait like 15 more days for that one. Okay. Well, what I was going to say though was, you look at 35 contacts, or, say you have to do that a week or whatever, because we say, okay, what is your contact per day? I've worked with some agents that it's 6, because that's whatever their goal is, their income goal. It based it on how many contacts, and one agent was 6 a day. How do you get that in? Right. So, and actually we do this on a weekly basis. Here's how simple we can break it out to you. Okay. Say it's 6 contacts a day. What if it's 9? You could break it up super simple. You could do 3 handwritten notes. You could do 3 text messages, and you can do 3 phone calls. Identify 9 people each day that you're trying, that you want to say your number is 6, or say your number is 9. Break that up and into those 3 categories. Those are still money making activities: notes, text messages, and calls. Those all fall under, what a contact is. So see how easily that can be broken up to be like, okay, I could actually easily hit 6 contacts a day or 9 contacts a day.
Yeah. And we have a thing we run. It's called 911 accountability. And it's just that: 3 notes, 3 calls, 3 messages. And then the 1-in-1 we have this cool wheel. We spin the wheel and we assign 2 random extra activities for the agents to do. And you can just do this yourself. You can get your own partner and just do it yourself. If agents started every day by getting 11 things done or 9 things done, or what a great start to the day. Then what happens is you start to get motivated, and you start to get results, and you start to get addicted to that, and it becomes a habit. I find that most agents just don't have good habits. They have bad habits. They don't have any of the good habits. Make that a habit. Could you get 3 messages, 3 text messages, 3 emails, 3 phone calls, 3 personal notes, 3 social media posts? I mean, you see how easy it is? Like, we go through and tell you all the different ways, which we're not going to do, but there's lots of things. You need to get that plan. You need to get up every day, take control of yourself, and get those things done. You cannot be passive. You will not survive in this business being passive, period. I mean,
and I think if you caught yourself, maybe you were being passive, maybe that's not how you typically operate, but then we all kind of can go through that kind of thing. And maybe you're like, maybe I have been a little bit passive. I need to get back on the horse again. Just get back on the horse again. Like, start simple, start 9 things. Like 9 things, it's just, if you're just more proactive and intentional in those ways, you will not be a passive agent. You will not have that characteristic of a passive agent.
Yeah. And, we all drift. I mean, we're not perfect. I don't think, I drift from my notes. That's why I started the personal note challenge. I was like, I got to get back on the horse. Look, I'm awful. And I love doing notes, but I still drifted. So there's no shame in that. We want to encourage you. That's what all this is about. We're trying to encourage you and inspire you. At the end of our 7th characteristic, we're going to give you like 2 of our best pieces of advice. So make sure you stay tuned and follow through till we get to the end of these. And we really hope that they help you. And we're really looking for some feedback and success stories. 2023, I'm going to be doing lots of interviews with agents across the country. So I'm always looking for great, stories of people to share, of inspiration, of things that they pushed through, people that, struggled, or who's made the most improvement in their business. So I would love to hear your story. We would love to hear your story. So
I would too.
Just definitely consider that. So any more on the passive agent, Lori, or you think we're good?
No, I think we're good. Again, business plan, what are your lead generation channels? Those 4 pillars, what are the activities? And then what's your number? How many contacts do you need to have a day? Let's just keep it simple there. You do kind of have to start big and then narrow it down, but the everyday is going to be in the small little steps. So, we don't want you to be a passive agent.
Yes. And if you're passive, you could be at risk. We don't want you to be at risk. We don't want you to be at risk. All right. Well, stay tuned. We will have characteristic number 5 out shortly.
Yep.
See y'all.